Yeah, sorry if my room is a little dark. I had I think a full moon glitch, and I had to move downstairs into the meditation room. Um, I'm in Scotland, and it's absolutely glorious here. It's a dark night. The moon is starting to pierce through the clouds. We just actually had a bunch of rain, so it's nice and cold here. And it's my first autumn in 3 years because I usually live in Costa Rica. So it's been quite delightful to just be in this change of seasons once again, because I'm from originally Toronto, Canada, and I really do miss the wheel of the year. But why don't we get started? And as people trickle in, I'll just admit them through the waiting room, and we can just start to dive into this beautiful webinar today. So thanks everyone for joining us. We're really excited to dive into another conversation. If you haven't met Lorena and Shantree, they're beautiful souls that hail from Canada. They have this amazing eco-spiritual education center, permaculture center near London, Ontario. And I've been admiring them for years from a distance and always wanting to jump into some of their programming. But as life would have it, I was always just too busy doing my own stuff, traveling the world and doing different things. But I was always keeping an eye out for their offerings. And as luck would have it, they serendipitously walked into an ecstatic dance that I ran in a town nearby years ago. And I was so excited to see them. It was just such an amazing moment for me. And since then, we've just started to converse and connect. And there's just such resonance between us. And I've just been so overjoyed to go and visit their living center and learn from them. And this past summer, Lorena and I collaborated on this amazing all-day retreat called Re-Enchanting Your Life. And the retreat that we'll be running in Costa Rica as well with Shantree in the Fold will be an elaboration and so much more of what we dove into that special day back in the beautiful summer. So Lorena and Shantree, thank you so much for joining us here again.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and we look forward to sharing this time with everyone.
Yes, and
I just want to say, when you're talking about the seasons, today we were out in the forest and did our meditation out there, and it was very warm. It's in November. We're in London, Ontario, Southern Ontario, and it is balmy warm. This is, I mean, of course, who doesn't love it? But at the same time, this is very weird. And it's, every year the seasons seem to shift, where it's a longer autumn, a warmer autumn, and much longer and colder spring. So many shifts happening on the planet. And this is what we're going to be looking at today. And how do we meet these with integrity and with love and with compassion and with insight? So really looking forward to sharing with everyone.
Yeah, and I wanted to say it's good to see you, Darren, and it's good to see some familiar faces I haven't seen for a while. And it's going to be a real pleasure to share this time together, because I believe that one of the most important things that's needed right now is enchantment, after what we've gone through the last few years, of how to bring that into our lives, both individually, internally, as well as collective in communities. So nice to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So perhaps while people are filtering in, we had talked about possibly starting with elemental meditation.
That sounds perfect. Let me put on some background music for you. And if you want to take it away, Lorena, by all means.
My pleasure. This is a meditation that Shantree and I bring into all of our mentorships, everything that we do here. This is really foundational. It's an ancient meditation that you could find in many different traditions. Simple.
Beautiful thing. It was taught to us on the beach in Costa Rica, but I believe it was the new millennium.
Yeah.
So was that 22, 23 years ago?
Yeah. So I'm going to take you through 5 very simple breath processes. And all we have to do is relax into this. Our disconnection from nature and from the elemental processes is so deep. It's been so educated into us that it's hard to believe sometimes that a simple act of connecting is enough, and that we are so supported by the earth and by each of the elements to come back into our natural state and into our personal power, that doing something as simple as this can actually change our lives. And it can, because it has, certainly with us, and it has with hundreds of people that we've shared this with. So we'd like to offer this as a gift that you can take with you wherever you go. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and relax. And as you exhale, letting your energy drop down into your body, right down to your legs, and connect with those energetic tendrils that move into the earth. This isn't imagination. We are energy fields. And we can't not be connected from the earth. It is just how it works. But at the same time, she is connected to us with her energy moving up into us. It's constant flow of communication between us happening every moment of our lives. It's so beautiful and so profound when we allow ourselves to feel the dynamic that is our birth. So let's begin by connecting with the spirit of air. I invite you to breathe in through your mouth and out through your mouth. Just gentle, easy breaths in and out. And feeling into the movement of air all around you. The movement of air in through your mouth, out through your mouth. Let your body be soft. Spine relaxed. And call on the spirit of air to enter into us deeply, that we may awaken the life force energies that we are because of you. That we may be inspired. Moved into new possibilities, for you are the element of movement. Without you, nothing on this planet moves. Not our blood, not our breath, not the rivers, not the wind. Feel the softness, the presence of this element, this being, how you are enfolded, how you are held, and how you are never not held by air. Breathed. Inspired and loved every moment of your life. Give thanks for this great gift of life. And turning our attention to the element fire and the sun. that has shone on us here in southern Ontario so gently today, so fully in its radiance. And we call on and greet the spirit fire, the spirit of the sun, to awaken in us the radiance that we are because of you. And we're breathing in through our mouth and out through our nose. Feeling into the presence of this being, this great intelligence, this wisdom teacher, fire. For fire you are, and fire I am. With all the radiant light, vision, warmth, exuberance, and passion that lives in us, that expresses through us because of fire. For all of this, we give thanks. For this sacred connection, for this sacred oneness, for this sacred knowing. We give thanks. And softly turning your attention to the spirit of water as we call in and greet this element, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling the great flow of life that is water coursing through your veins. Feeling into the presence of water all around you, the tiny droplets that are in the air. They too hug you. They too imbue you with their pure wisdom, their pure presence, nourishing you. Teaching you. We can say as a truth, the water I am. Fire I am. Air I am. Held in this liquid love, filled by liquid love. The great oceans and rivers of this planet flowing through you, in and out. Cup of tea that you drank this morning, the glass of water that nourished you, cleansed you. What mountains did it travel down before it reached your tummy? What parts of the sky did it travel through? What animals, what other beings drank that same water as you? And now, all of that information lives in you. The giraffe in Africa little boy in Israel, the whales, the ocean. Us too, we are part of the great hydrological water cycles, essential to the movement, to the great flow. Let us come back into wisdom, for this wisdom lives in us. We are that. Let us come back home. Into the sweetness of life. Give thanks for the sweet waters of life. For your generosity and your love. And softly turn your attention to the spirit of earth, to Gaia, called by so many names: Pachamama, Aluna, Sophia, Goddess, and so many more. And we greet you on this, your beautiful day, as you hold us in your loving embrace. Bring us home, shelter, food, beauty, wonder, our bodies, everything we need to thrive. Weaving us together in your magic, helping us to remember our unity, and loving us equally. There is no hierarchy in your kingdom. There is only wonder. There is only love. And now you call us back home. To remember who we are and why we're here. To be part of the great transition that you're in as privileged soul walkers with you, as you. We each know why we are here, even if we haven't remembered fully. And now you call us back to awakening, to remembering. It's time to say, it is time. And we are ready. Thank you for this great gift to be alive with you now. And now let's softly turn our attention to the spirit of ether, the great space through which all life is birthed, breathing in through your nose and mouth at the same time and out through your nose and mouth at the same time. The space is some called the great mystery, some call spirit, some call God, some call goddess. A space that makes up over 99% of who you are and who I am. A space of pure potentiality, quantum field of all possibility. This is who you are. This is who I am. We open to the fullness of the truth, the fullness of love, the fullness of compassion, the fullness of joy, the fullness of presence. All here has always been here waiting. Will we hear? Will we listen? Time is right. Now we come together in this circle. Sacred intent. To honor the awakening of Earth as Earth, with all of life. And for this we give thanks. Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible. Wow.
Good connection.
Wow. Thank you for re-enchanting my life.
It doesn't
Not
take
only,
long.
it doesn't take long.
It doesn't. It's just taking those few moments of coming into stillness, especially when there's a circle of people together. The energy, I mean, we're born for this. Yeah.
And I mean, I really admire, why I've been so drawn to collaborating with you both is I just admire how deeply you walk this path. And it comes through in your ways of representing the elements, how you channel them. And that meditation was just so deeply moving. And it's so important to be doing this work, to return to the sweetness of life, as you said in the meditation. Especially given the context of the world that we live in right now, where there is so much chaos. And I know right now, especially in this present moment where we're right between these two eclipses, or rather about to go through the final eclipse of this year, a very powerful one in the Earth sign of Taurus. And I know it's just shaking a lot of people. And coming back to the Earth has been my practice. I know it's been your practice, perhaps for many people joining us today. And I find myself so blessedly here in Scotland, being able to take beautiful long walks with the ancient lands here. And it's just been such a balm for my soul. And I really appreciate you just calling us back into that elemental faith, that elemental intelligence. It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so important. When what you wrote, the beautiful words that you wrote in the invitation, you said, we're living in times of great awakening and holy shifts. When I first read that, oh, great awakening.
I can't own that, the holy shift thing. I think it was coined by someone else, but it is something that's definitely stayed in my vocabulary, because it is, it is that holy shit moment, but also, my gosh, we're here to transmute that into this shift. And it is so much of today is about the return of storytelling, and what I've been doing a lot, and I know you have too, both just reaching into mythologies of the past to really understand that there were guiding narratives of great cultures that we all have ancestry to, that not only just imbued everyone's life with a sense of belonging and a sense of direction, but I'm sure in these times of shift, which the ancients may have been much more aware of and how to prepare, those things became much more prevalent to make us realize wait, there's a greater context beyond the human egoic life that we live in. And I know before we talked about this, we were talking about, the shift from 3D, the third dimension, which is such a dense place of materialism, which is what we've been inhabiting for centuries. And now with all these new energies coming in, and there's so much we could go into that with the galactic prophecies, whether it's the Mayan or the Gnostics, there is this kind of almost a dematerialization. And I think of the words of Bob Marley, there's a natural mystic flowing through the air. I think that's becoming more, people are apprehending that a lot more in this day.
And we have so many practices, new ones and from the past, that have been that have been given to us from our ancestors. And certainly when you and I worked together in that workshop that we did, we brought a lot of those in. We have so many ways to move from this denser frequency into the higher frequencies, and simply by being in nature. The nature has always held the higher frequencies. She is struggling right now because of the harm that we've caused to her, but her frequencies have never shifted. It's us that have dropped, and then we can't see, we can't feel, we lose our connection. We move into this place of, this illusion of separation, and then it becomes overwhelming rather than exciting. It becomes daunting, as you put it, and yet at the same time, underneath it, I think many of us are feeling. And this is a beautiful thing about what's happening now. We're feeling this rising up, this call to a new sense of purpose. I mean, so many of us, we have walked this sense of purpose for the last, 45, 50 years of our lives since, we were adults. And so it's not new, I'm sure, to any of us here, but there's something new emerging now that's saying, okay, now's the time. This is what we've been preparing for. This is why you're here. It's time to move into that new frequency. And I'll just say that, back to the meditation, the reason why because it has to be practical. There's a lot of beautiful experiences that we can have at the spiritual levels. But how do we bring this into our lives so that when fear, anxiety, uncertainty come, how is this transformed in very, very practical ways? How do we live with this earth? And as I said in the meditation, I mean, we are the elements in expression. So all of the creativity, the resilience, the generosity, the beauty, the wonder, the possibility that the elements have expressed over for millennia, we are this. I mean, take one element away and we're no longer here as we know ourselves. So it's so to remember this and to constantly tune back into the truth of, in fact, who we are. I mean, we're automatically connected to, so that as soon as we bring our attention back into that connectivity, it activates these frequencies within us. And that creates that brings greater intelligence, because the elements are intelligent. I mean, look what they've done. I mean, we view them as just things out there, air, water, water, and all the earth, we can do whatever we want, the earth, right? But how could we be intelligent? How could the living systems of the earth function with such great intelligence if the elements that wove all of this together, sparked by what we can call spirit, isn't innately intelligent? And all of that, we can say, I am. I am. Now, to embody that, to trust that, that's going to take some time, but it doesn't mean it's not the truth.
Wow. Well said. I want to just applaud even that. I mean, so many light bulb moments coming up for me there. Geez. But Shantree, I want to also pass it to you and see if you had something to share here.
Thanks. Yeah, Lorena, what you shared was
so beautiful.
It is so beautiful, and it's a path that is so awake in both of us. And we were in the forest today, and we were sitting amongst trees that were there before we were born. And there's certain trees that are in this forest that were that the trees sprouted before this house was built in 1912, 1914. So there's 150, 200-year-old trees there. And it was just an awe being there of what they've witnessed. And when we talk about a shift, and what's happened is the crack has happened. The shift is already in place. The awakening has already happened in each one of us. And so the words I love to share is, how do we live it now? Not just keep talking about, oh yeah, it's coming, the change is coming, the awakening or the paradigm shift it's in the future. It's not. It's here now. It's entered into our world very obviously in the number of years. And knowing that there's these beings that are so vital, so alive, and that these ancient trees, these ancient beings were born from the elements, but they also affect the elements. They soften how strong that wind's going to blow. They're going to soften how that rain is going to fall upon the earth, how the sun is going to come down softly. Everything amongst these ancient trees, or even if they're not ancient, even if they're 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they soften. And so that these living beings are softening what we feel. I mean, they're a sanctuary. They're a cathedral. And that's what I felt like inside this forest for us. And a lot happened for us in Costa Rica, not just learning this elemental breaths, but we were born there. Maybe we were.
In some ways, reborn.
That's actually where my name was born. Shantree is in Costa Rica, and and even yours. And it wasn't for Costa Rica, we wouldn't have met there. But the thing is it's just so primal there, and it's to connect that primal wisdom of the beauty that we can create in our own home, in our own backyards, and to really live, and how to connect with a group of people to say we're using the language that we've gone through. It's not just talking about something that's coming, and it's so alive and it's so vibrant. So to me, sacred plant medicine is deepening that connection with the green world, because that's my realm. That's where I live, is knowing these elements have come in and create this green world. And by being in that green world, there's such a beauty that happens. It's the beauty path, the green path. And it's where our hearts can rest. It's where our spirits can feel regenerate. I keep trying to find new words to articulate what happens here in such a real way. It's not just saying, oh, it's a spiritual connection, or it's plant spirit medicine, or it's shifting my emotions, or shifting my mental state. Is that I have tapped into my genetic code, and it's a remembering. And I mean, the word that we're using here is re-enchantment, but the word chant, right? It's a mantra that the green world's always sharing with us. The word chant is a rhythm of how do we shift our rhythm. And the rhythm of the green world is obviously very different than our techno, et cetera, of the way the paradigm is today, of being so disconnected. So the connection, we know we yearn for that. And that is what will bring about this wisdom. So the word I love, I was sharing that with Lorena today, the word awe. I just want to live in awe as many moments as I can. Can I take 100 awes today? Can I take 500 awes today, saying, wow, look at that leaf, or look at that bird, or just this touch, or what it, and to be in awe is, I'm changing every moment. So it's not just doing a meditation, for sunrise and sunset or once a day or whatever, is to say, I'm in awe. And that awe is a pause in wonder, in wonderment. And that, to me, those two words is what enchantment is. Being in awe, being in such a wonder. And I'm going through this portal. So one of the things I want to share before I pause with this part is, as we're leaving the forest, there's these two trees that are about a foot apart because we can barely slide between them, sideways. And one's a huge cherry tree and one's a big maple tree. And these two trees, I'm positive, are 67, whatever. They're very old. They're way beyond 50 years, maybe 70, 80 years old, but they're really old. And knowing that these trees are really straight and they've been growing together for so long in synergy, in such great communion. And as we walk through that portal, feeling these roots that are so intertwined together at such a close distance. It's not a tree that's 10 feet apart. It's like they're right there. And knowing they're getting closer and closer every year. And we went through that. And it just felt like this. It was just magic. It was just heavenly. It was beautiful. And knowing that awe and wonder is all around us, if we choose to look at it from that perspective, is just having those reminders or something to say, yeah, this is magic here. This is beauty right here. This is wonderment. And so our curiosity can take us there. Our emotions can go there, and our physical touching of the world.
Yeah.
And that's, so thank you.
Yeah. We're very practical here. We grow our food. We tend to a lot of gardens.
5 acres.
We have, 4 different natural buildings on the property. We're just in the process of finishing a cordwood and cob building that we've been working on for 2 years.
Called the sanctuary.
Yeah. And yet, what is going to shift us out of this fear-based culture? What's going to draw us back home to what, Shantree's talking about, this coherence, this communion space with the natural world, because until we come back to that, and it is a very practical, there are very practical steps to this. One of them is growing a garden. And until we come back to this, until we abide by nature's laws and realize that we are pure love in expression, that this is our true nature, and that war is an illusion and it's a decision, and that all the fear and all the hoarding and all the greed and all of the ego-based, the ego's just developed to where it's developed because of fear. The ego's a great thing. It's just totally out of balance. That it really, it is in these moments that we choose. Either it's through this, the sound work that you so beautifully do, where you guide people into these experiences of connectivity, or through dance and movement, which I love, breath work, meditations, earth connection processes, plant spirit medicine, eating really healthy foods, eating foods that are alive. as the more we can touch into this and feel that frequency, the more we can go back to it, the more we can remember our true nature. And the more nature can speak through us, the more our minds, our hearts, and our bodies become the voice and the action for the earth, because she is moving through a massive transformation right now. We are guests. I mean, we are her, yes. But if we're gone, she continues. So in a way, we're guests. Mm-hmm. And we are here. Our transformation is in our support of her transformation. A few years ago, this came through in a meditation. I was stunned. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, it is my love affair with her. It is my relationship with each of the elements that will allow me to support her in her transformation. And then I am transformed. So, and we've had it all backwards. It's all about the human. Let me be transformed. Then maybe I'll help the earth. It's not. That's not how it works. And when we go into these practices, when we're in nature, when we spend time in the forest, when we're in environments that are rich and dynamic with the elements, we remember. And when we remember, we change. And we're no longer the same. You can't go back. Once you've remembered, you cannot go back. You may try to go back, but you can't. It's like touching, that you touch the hem of the garment. It is done, right? And but who wants to go back? Because it births in us possibility. Right now, people are looking out into the world and thinking, what's the point? So many people, so many young people, they have no hope. They have no faith in what's emerging. But when we tap in, I don't know where it's going. None of us knows where it's going. None of us knows what we're going to be going through to meet the more beautiful world that our hearts knows is possible, as Charles Eisenstein says. We don't know this, but we know we can participate. And that, we get old when we lose our purpose. And I know that because I'm 73 and I feel in the collective field this, you're supposed to stop now. Now it's time to retire. And every part of me goes, are you crazy? Retire from what? The joy of life?
Well, that's the word I would put in there is creativity, right? It's just that zest and creativity of what do I want to express now? What do I want to share forward?
Yeah.
I want to share one little thing here.
Please.
One of the things that I do a lot throughout my day is I'm always carrying around a seed that's in my pocket. And the seed is a reminder. And the saying comes from way back is that every time a seed sprouts, that means that nature has not given up on us. And when a seed falls onto hard soil, or actually, let's not say hard soil, a seed falls onto a rock. That seed, when it starts to go down, has a little root that starts to go in. That root actually causes that rock to crack. That seed does not fall in a crack. The seed root creates the crack in a rock. That root goes in, starts to put enzymes or enzymatic action, and causes a rock to have a gradual, tiny little crack, and that root starts to go inside, and it breaks it. And those roots are called radicals. So think of it this way. Each of us is born, and as we go deeper and deeper into the earth, our radical root goes down. And the word radical a lot of times can be extremist, or there's different ways we can think of the word radical, but actually means a taproot that's going into the earth, but it's going into hard places, and it transforms something that's hard, and it brings it into life, and it mines those nutrients that are there. So to me, one of the practices I love is just carrying a seed in my pocket saying, do not forget. the power of a little seed, and each of us was born as a seed, and here we are today as living beings. And that's part of my, expression, one of my joys of being a herbalist and bringing in Ayurvedic wisdom, of looking at the power of ecology of this tiny little seed, or like a tiny poppy seed, or anything as small as you can imagine. If anyone's ever grown lemon balm, you open up a package, it's like there's no seeds in there. It looks like dust because the seeds are so tiny, right? But the power of a seed, and that to me is creativity.
And that's what we are.
That's who we are. And that's what our zest is going into uncharted territory, saying, I want to deepen and know who I am, why I'm here, and to express the things I've absorbed. And now I want to share that and move it forward into our future, into the next generation, into kids or grandkids.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just want to share that piece there of the power of a seed.
Darren, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So,
put me on the hot seat.
What does moving, because you mentioned, in what you wrote up, which I love, you mentioned moving from the third dimensional world to the fifth dimensional world.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like or feel like to you? Like, how do you, in your life, bring that into manifestation? Like, how do you experience that? I know it's difficult to do this on an ongoing basis, but this is what the conversation is about.
Absolutely. I mean, wow, I'm just still taking in all the beauty that you've just shared. Because I can dovetail with some of what you're sharing. I mean, the portal of awe, I think, as Shantree's talking about, and what I really took away from what you shared, Lorena, is this intelligence in the earth, this genius. And part of my awakening to these higher dimensions, or multi-dimensions, or 5D, if people want to call it that as well, which is such a buzzword, is also studying the science of things. When you get into the metaphysics of how ecology works, how the universe works, you start to realize that it's very, in a circular way, it's very connected to the ancient mystical Vedic and Taoist and that's why the scientists and the mystics are really starting to converge now, because they're starting to realize when we get into that quantum realm of energy, which is kind of peering into 4 and 5D, you start to see that web of life, of light, entanglement, the intelligent design of the universe, as scientists also call it. And a lot of scientists, from that state of wonderment, again, that awe, moving out of the machine of mechanistic science, they become mystics. I think of Fritjof Capra, who wrote the Tao of Physics, Erwin Laszlo's, this amazing quantum theorist who just wrote a book, by the way, called The Reenchantment of the Cosmos, I believe, which I found in Findhorn in this eco village up in Scotland. I took a picture and shared on my Instagram. So for me, there is the path also of like the intellect sort of going through this initiation of awe just from sheerly studying things. I think in this moment as well, Leonardo da Vinci, he was left-handed. And at the time, that was considered like a mental retardation. So he didn't go to formal educational schools. He actually said he just spent time in nature. So there is definitely this element of just study, of reading, but then there's also the inner practice of meditation, which has just been a practice that I've honed ever since I had an awakening to spirituality in my early 20s. Because when you start to realize and discern that there are different states of consciousness, you realize that the shift into 5D is really a state of consciousness shift in some ways too. It's subtle. It's about just realizing that you can witness your thoughts, and that there's this grander intelligence, this more divine mind, maybe that intelligence that you're speaking of in nature. We start to feel a fulfillment, a connection with that. And that's very soothing to a lot of the cynicism and pessimism and despair that I think the disenchanted world of the Industrial Revolution has kind of imbued in us. And I think the last thing I'll share on this is spending time in nature, again, through the commonality of the awe. As I shared with you, John Lamlash, this great thinker, he says, the religion of the earth is beauty. The more time we spend in nature, especially during these times of chaos, something that always comes to me is like, when I go out to nature, it's like, oh, there's no news here. There's no war in the Ukraine here. There's no yada, 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 not the chaos of the human egotistical world. There's just this stillness And yes, there can be the fury of storms and predator prey, whatever, but for the most part, that 99% space is that 99% peace that just nature is always expressing. And that is a portal as well to this, like, wow, there's a whole other dimension just to the living earth that is just so profound. So I find myself spending more and more and more time in nature, because nature really is, with Shantree's revelation around the seed, like, it reminds me of that song in the Smiths where Morrissey sings, nature's a book, can't you read? It's like, there is this intelligence in nature that is so beyond the third dimension, that is so hyper dimensional. And when you look at nature and you really denude all the conditioning, and you, like, I stare at this river in Costa Rica that I've lived by, that our retreat will be on, the River Naranjo. It's one of my favorite rivers on earth. And there's these beautiful points of sanctuary at Posada Natura where we're running this retreat, where you can just sit on these giant ancient rock beings and just watch this river. And I found myself, I could just stare at that thing for hours, because there's just the genius of flow, of what is water. It's so mercurial. It's the blood of life. It turns into clouds. It rains. So that really can put me in that realm too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. There's so many ways to reconnect, but it does take deliberateness at this time on the planet, because our lives can get so busy. And I'm wondering, just looking at the time here, I'm wondering if anybody might have any comments or questions that they might have relative to some of the things that we've shared.
Yeah, and also just to comment that we will probably be going just over the time limit. So if anyone has to leave, this is being recorded. It will be replayed. Don't feel bad. You're not being rude. We know we set it for an hour, but as things go, we can go over a bit. So, but yes, if anyone has any questions at this point, please, you can unmute yourself and just jump in. Jules is reaching for something.
Yeah, I see that big smile on
poking us with those Care Bears in the background.
Yeah, those are my surrogate bears.
Great to see you, Jules.
Yeah, it's so great to see you, Darren. And, it was so interesting. I didn't think that I knew you, Lorena and Shantree, but then I realized that my husband has been following your work forever. It's
no way.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize that that's who you were talking to today, Darren. and your website actually was one of our examples as to how to best represent ourselves when we're putting ourselves out there. For myself and my husband, practitioners who are actually living right now on the Bay of Fundy here in St. Martin's, New Brunswick. So we were inclined to move here and live beside Mother Ocean. Darren's a long-time friend, and it was so wonderful hearing you speak, and it just felt like little bits of me came alive with every word and every sequence, and it's just how I roll as far as being an embodiment coach and facilitator. So that it's so nice to hear other people just like drop into that and be, just activated. I can just feel myself getting activated as I listen, and the hope that it brings the more people that I hear, and I'm sure the same thing, right? That we all hear speaking this way, and knowing that we are all coming alive more and more on the inside, and some of us are really scared about it and don't know what the hell is going on, right? And we all need help in different ways, and myself included, even as a coach and a facilitator and as an intuitive mentor, helping other people. At the same time, I need to reach out to my mentors to get help to, expand in my way as well, all those seeds. But I really like the idea of the radical root. I love that.
That's great.
Kids would love that one too. It's just so fundamental, so easy, and so brilliant in its, we think that this tiny little thing, how could it possibly push through? And I often tell that story. My husband grows sunflower seeds. And I always, people are always floored when I tell them that you have to put like textbooks on top of the sunflower seeds because the sunflowers need something to push up against. And if it's not heavy enough, then they can't push up against it, that we're actually built to have distance in order to grow.
Teachings everywhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on right now. That's exactly what's happening. That's beautiful, Jules.
Yeah.
We are being pressed up against, so rather than seeing what's going on as bad, see it as a necessary next spiritual evolutionary step. Like we need the pressure, and the old metaphor, which is true, that when you give birth, there's pressure in the giving of birth, always, always, always. When a star when there's
black hole?
No, when there's a supernova and galaxies emerge, the amount of pressure as this star implodes is phenomenal, but it gives birth to new creation.
Yeah.
And that's the way we work. When we're born out of universal principles, we're born out of the principles of nature. It's just the way it works. And once we can realize that, and Thomas Berry and Brian Swim, two of our heroes, speak to this so beautifully in the universe story. And what you were saying, Darren, is to be inspired by the new science, which is like poetry to us, and to be inspired by being in nature, to be inspired by these little sunflower seeds, that are pressing up against, this weight, and to know that I am born of the same principles. That is required of me to crack open the stones and the boulders in my own heart and in my own mind, in particular, the mind that has been cultured by a culture that has very little to do with who I am, with who you are, right? So we're moving into new territory. That little root doesn't know where it's going. It just knows it's got a purpose. We don't know where we're going, but we know we have a purpose. That's why we're here together.
Yeah.
And the most important thing for me, with all these things that we're talking about, yes, it's wonderful to be in nature. Yes, it's wonderful to realize these things, is that it cultivates trust. We have given our trust away to other people, to other leaders, to other teachers, to other, because we've been educated into doing that. What actually can we trust? We can trust our own source connection. How do we get there? We get there through our interconnected relationship with the living earth. And the earth is a song. So we bring him to the earth is a dance. The earth is movement. The earth is a chant. The earth is wet and lush and dripping with beauty and wonder and possibility. So that's what we're connecting with. I mean, it's not so hard. It doesn't look like a big task. And one of the reasons why we've chosen, and we'll be doing with Darren workshops here as well, but one of the reasons why we've chosen Costa Rica to do the re-enchantment over the New Year's portal is because you can't pretend there that you are more powerful than the elements. You cannot, you are slipped out of your illusion in no time at all. All you have to do is step into the ocean, feel the winds, feel the depths of moisture. The earth is so alive there. And this country has not had an army for over 60 years. 70 years.
70 years.
And so it's giving back into the living earth. So we have been so changed in the many times we've been down there and we've taught down there. And so we thought, well, let's do it there. Besides, it's winter here. It's a nice place to go.
Indeed.
The other part I find really beautiful for those of you who are from Ontario, just knowing how tiny this country is from Windsor to Toronto, around the Great Lakes right here, right? Tiny little country. Used to have 111 volcanoes, 111. It's a newer landmass than Hawaii. So that's one part that puts me in awe. But the other one that just came out like just a few weeks ago is by the telescope, the Webb telescope. They've always heard that things disappear into the black holes. And there was a sun 20 times the size of our sun that got gobbled up into the black hole. I'm not sure how much time later, but they now have a picture, evidence that the black hole actually spitted out that sun. So it swallowed it up and it came out in pieces. And it's like, where did it go? It went into the unknown, gone into that dark place, right? We're in the dark place of what's happening on the planet Earth. And then something magnificent comes out. We thought once they went to black hole, it's gone forever. And it's like, whoa, actually things come back out.
And we are born at that.
And they come out different because it's not one sun anymore. It's magnificence what it came out.
Wow.
So anyone else? Or Darren, if you want to share something there.
Well, yeah, I just want to just also pivot with a little intro about our retreat in Costa Rica, just to set that context as well, because I know some of you may have been on this call or on this discussion just to hear a bit about what we're setting up in Costa Rica. And what's really been coming through for me, especially in this discussion and hearing the wisdom that you guys have, is I really see you guys as earth elders. And I hope that doesn't sound offensive, but I really feel that you've devoted your lives to Mother Earth. And when you speak, I am just learning always so much. And that's why I feel it's such a privilege and such a blessing to have your friendship, and to co-create with you is just such an honor. And I really, really want to set that scene for people that it's such a special opportunity to be in Costa Rica, where Mother Earth is so profoundly powerful at a time when we need that trust, as both Lorena and Shantree have spoken of, and to understand what it means to really trust Mother Earth and to be in that awe. And I really look forward to being there for this whole week and just seeing the teachings that are going to be coming out of both of you. And just knowing that you've lived in Costa Rica on and off for so long, you've connected with the land so beautifully, and you can steward us into that appreciation for what Costa Rica has to offer as truly being a hub of that regeneration and that remembrance. I mean, that's why I got called to Costa Rica and why I want to run more of these kinds of retreats, these earth connection retreats, because I do feel to the depths of my soul that getting people into a process of falling back in love with the earth is so vital for our survival on so many levels, not just physically, but psychologically and spiritually, especially. And it's going to be so powerful as well, moving through the portal of the new year, because it is going to be setting a tone for not only the year to come, but years to come. And I can just imagine the amount of purpose and the amount of inspiration that we're going to be humming with. And it's just going to grow, I think, exponentially day by day by day. And the retreat center Posada Natura that you both haven't been to yet, but I just am so looking forward to how much beauty you're going to reap from being in this space. It really is one of the most nature interfacing spaces in all of Costa Rica, because it's in this small town of Londres, ironically London, but like the opposite frequency of London. And it's on this beautiful pure river, and it's literally 25 minutes from the ocean on the Pacific coast. And it's after this small town of Londres, which is a Tico town of about 200 people. It's literally just jungle all the way to the Caribbean. It's one of the longest chains of just primal jungle in Costa Rica. And you really feel that. You really feel like you're on the edge of just, and sometimes it gives me a daunting feeling just to be like, whoa, like I can look at the mountains in the distance and just know that there's just Gaia for hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's a really profound feeling.
I want to add one little piece here is that, we got married there, and a lot of the things that happened for us during those 8 years that we lived there for 3 to 5 months every winter is the living center changed because of what happened for us there. We were totally transformed of all the things that we did before we met, before we came together in our relationship. But individually, our work changed, but the center also got shifted. So when we speak about the elements, it felt like we were there as students for those 8 years going to Gaia University of the elements teaching us, because one of the places we lived at was 350 feet above the ocean, and it was just primary rainforest all the way around. It was just a floor and a roof. No windows, no doors, no
a sink.
I had a sink, but it was just it was just open, right? Open floor and a roof. And there was no road to drive up there. You had to walk up there 350 feet up. And so basically there was no distractions. And this is right when internet was just in the early stages coming in. So we didn't have any distractions. We didn't have emails back then. So just the things that came through we were taught there.
Yeah. You know, Darren, what you just said, that this really relates to our survival. And I just want to go back to something that I brought up earlier and emphasize this, that when you have the felt experience, felt it in your body of what that connection is, that living, thriving, beautiful, life-enhancing connection, you never forget it. You might lose it, you know, in the everydays of our lives, but you never, ever forget it. And that's what's so important. We need those moments. We need those moments. We can be transformed. And I'm sure that many of you have experienced this. You can be transformed in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
The rest of your life is no longer the same. We see that in falling in love. You turn to someone, you look in their eyes, in 3 seconds, your life will never be the same.
And it's magnified when you're in a circle. Like when you're in a circle, that's a sacred circle, and it's enhanced. Yeah. It's the intention, and it just.
So, is there any? We've been going on here.
Anyone
else have any questions or any thoughts? That was beautiful what you shared, Jules. Thank you.
Yeah.
Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
It's been a long time.
Very long time. So I did my herbalism with Shantree.
Before my name got changed.
Who was that?
we go way back, and then I also saw them coming together, Lorena and Shantree.
Wow!
And they did a beautiful ceremony on their property, on their land. But for me, that what Lorena was just speaking to, that 3 minute or however long it takes, it could be very quick, but it could change your life. That happened with one of our courses that I took, and Shantree did a guided walk meditation, and in that meditation, a living being, plant, was to speak to us, and we had our eyes closed, but the living being plant would call to us as opposed to us picking something. And that for me was the tipping point. And it was one of his trees on his property, and it spoke to me. I felt its pulse and my pulse. They came together. We became one. An experience unlike I've ever had before, and that changed my life entirely. It told me about how long it's existed, and it didn't talk about singular. It wasn't just a tree. This was bigger than just that that being, and it gave me that trust that because it's been in existence for so long, the history of it brings that much more strength to the here and the now and the present. And it also gave me the reassurance that none of us are alone, that we are all interconnected, And in this shift, this webinar that we're doing right now, when you speak about the shift, and I think it's that more people are aware and are connected now. And therefore, we're creating even a more powerful shift because we have connected, because we recognize we are together.
Yeah.
Instead of being one, like when that heartbeat, I felt the tree heartbeat. It was just and mine coming together. It's that we're not separate. We're not separate at all.
No, that's the thing.
Illusion.
Beautiful share.
Purity, Angela, that you experienced.
Thank you.
That's so beautiful. That depths of purity that nature is. It's so much easier to feel that a sense of connectivity, of trust, of longevity, of our ancient roots, of the future beings coming in, that there's this one continuum happening that we are part of. It's so much easier to experience that in nature. And, you know, we often think with this shift that's going on, that it's as humans, you know, we've got to be able to, you know, we think it's the humans that are going to do it. And yet we forget that every single tree, every single leaf on that tree, every little tiny bacteria, every mycelium, every worm, every deer, every antelope, every being on this planet is in resonance with nature's ways. And that resonance, that frequency right there is our support to move forward, to come back into frequency, back into that frequency. I mean, we are so supported. It's unbelievable. All we have to do really is open ourselves to the frequency, you know, to the earth grid, this blue, beautiful, flowing, dancing, singing, energetic matrix that we are completely woven into and we weave into in both ways. And all of this is happening right now. It's vital in these days that we take the time to have that experience. That's beautiful.
And all the other beings have our back. Like every single being, every single root is trying to get across that highway, get across that road to connect with another root. Is that web that's on this planet. It's everything there is just trying to it's weaving it back together again, coming back to wholeness. And just knowing that we use many different words: surrender, allow, just to allow the unfolding to happen. If we can allow to rewild ourselves, but to be a garden, but to be a wild garden, not just to garden wild, but to say, can I allow this to rewild, be it from our gut or be it from our whole being is wanting that. And nature is always on our side. Nature's always there to support that time back to wholeness.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Michael. Beautiful to hear that. That was a long time ago. We used to bring those memories back.
Jules, you have something else here.
I really love that imagery of the fact that we're all so supported. It's just like it's waiting to catch us. It's like the trust fall at camp, where they're like, okay, like fall, right? You're like, oh, I don't know if I can. And we're all kind of like on the edge, like, oh, I don't think I can. And oh, I was super close. But really, as soon as we get caught, it's like, oh, this has been here the whole time. But like the separation, we don't think it's there to catch us. So we don't even think to let ourselves go. We don't even get to the point where we're feeling like we're on the edge, like we're going to surrender, because we don't even know that's not even an option. Most people don't know that that's an option.
When we get older, an image from what you're saying, Jules, is coming to my mind the other day. When Shantree's mentorship people were doing a presentation, there were a few kids here, and they were gathering up all the leaves, like gathering. And they said, Lorena, watch. And there was like from this little 3-year-old to a 9-year-old. And they're
trying to make the pile bigger than me.
Yeah,
They're like, just
they're
a big.
diving into it, right? Complete surrender, complete joy, complete. I am held by these leaves. I mean, and they knew it. It was so sweet. It was so joyful.
That's amazing.
Thanks, Jules. That's great.
Well, we should probably bring things to a close, but it's just been so rich talking to you both, and I just selfishly can't wait to just be in your presence during our Re-Enchanting Your Life retreat, and just hearing all the wisdom that's going to come out of you guys and myself too, and there's just going to be so many amazing things that I think are going to happen on this retreat for everyone. Just the shifts, the growing awakening, being in the beauty of Costa Rica and the elements, and all the beautiful content that we're going to weave together with all the activities, culminating in New Year's Eve. We're going to have an amazing ecstatic dance ceremony that night with a fire ceremony. Just, we're going to really revel as our ancestors used to, with cacao, beautiful cacao.
Yeah. And Darren, I just
Please.
want to say that I mean, you've been honoring us, and I want to honor you with the depth of work that you, not exploration. It hasn't been work. It's been joy. I know you couldn't be. I mean, the depth that you've moved in through your soundscapes, through your study of history, through your study of the ancient ones, through the poetry and the mythology that you've woven together. It is so beautiful, and it is so enlivening. It's so we also are very excited about doing this.
I want to do that, because I felt very jealous that you and Lorena got our life during that weekend when I was doing my herbal mentorship. So my people were doing my thing, but I saw what was happening. So I got to attend the evening part, which is beautiful. But before we go into the next part or finish this part, I would love to either hear a takeaway from each of you, either by unmuting yourself or just putting in the chat a word or a few words of what this little bit that we shared with you was like. Stephanie, thank you for putting yours up there. But Darren, I know you want to do one more part before we finish here.
Yes. Maybe you could put it in the chat. That would be lovely, because Darren, you're going to finish with a meditation. This would be great.
Well, yes, I was just going to show a music video that I created for my album, Honor All Creation, and it's a very fitting music video because it's called actually We Are Gaian. And this idea of We Are Gaian is something that came to me from John Lam Lash. And I'm just going to share my screen here. And John Lam Lash was the gentleman who initiated me into an understanding of the whole Sophia story, which is an ancient story of Mother Earth. And I'll be sharing that on the retreat, the whole Gaia Sophia story. So yeah, if you guys are down, I'll just show you this beautiful video. Some of it was filmed in Costa Rica as well. And just let me know as I play it that you can all hear the music. So I'll start it. Is everyone hearing this?
We are something.
I'll just pause it. Does everyone hear that?
Yeah, but we can't see it.
You can't see it.
No.
Share screen again. Oh yeah, for some reason. Let me go back to basic. Screen share. Okay. And the sound is there?
No.
Okay, wait a second. Technology, gotta love it. Advanced and audio. Okay, let's see if that works. Yes?
No.
Hold on.
At least we won't be doing technology at the retreat. It'll be live.
Oh, you know what? It's for some reason, it's not letting me share sound and video at the same time, which is very odd. Let me just try this one more time. Yeah, it's not, which is really weird.
Oh, okay.
You know what? It's on YouTube.
Darren, can you put the link on the chat so that way they can at least?
I can absolutely put the link on the chat.
That way they can watch it after if they wish.
Yes, that is a good call.
Okay.
Boom. There you go.
Good. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
It's wonderful seeing a few names of people I haven't seen or talked to for a while, and great seeing a few new faces. And blessings to you all. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful, beautiful day. And I guess, Darren, where you are, it's going to be you're going into the nighttime there, or is already nighttime there.
Oh, it gets dark here at like 4:30 now. We're in a valley, and we're on like the other side, so we get pretty. The Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, he always says the holy darkness. That's been like my mantra, the holy darkness. And just a final reminder to people, if you are interested in joining us in Costa Rica, the early bird rate is going until November 13th. So there's still time. Reach out to us if you have any questions about the retreat. We'd love if any of you felt like coming down to Costa Rica, and we just love sharing this wisdom with you today. And even if you don't come down to the retreat, we're going to be collaborating much, much more. So yeah, thank you everyone for sharing your time and your energy with us today.
And I just put the link for the Costa Rica retreat.
Just in case.
Great. Carl, you're unmuted. Is that purposeful?
No, I was just ready to say goodbye and thank you for everything. And Darren, I hope you're enjoying Scotland.
I'm enjoying it, brother. It's great to be in the UK, mate.
Okay, well, wonderful. Thank you all. Thanks, Darren. This has been beautiful.
Yeah, love you all. See you soon.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
We are something to be reckoned with. A species of holy design, crystallized by a goddess great, who ripples in our ancient memories, thundering into remembrance now. We have been born with innate genius that has been waiting so long to be discovered, recovered from the ashes of historical oppression, and it shall wait no longer. For we are Gaian, and we were created not to be hapless fools, cannibalizing our planetary mother, but denizens of cosmic unity, warriors of wisdom, unspeakably magical, beautiful to infinite evolutions. Her story is our story, and it is time to reclaim, for the truth of truths to come clear, as we remember the honor and glory to have shimmered from her galactic womb. We are humanity, anthropos, divinely ordained. We have more than enough brilliance to foster a world that is the heavenly dream we have all been imagining for so long. Let us breathe real life into that vision now. Soar from this nest and give birth to our fullest potential together. With our feet on her breast, our heads encircled by starry ministries, let us release the full power of the human spirit and the mystery of love shining in our hearts. And with her by our side, create heaven on earth. With her guiding wisdom, pointing us to profound possibilities. Let this be our moment when we finally change things and live according to the virtue that quivers eternally as our essence, unstoppably so. For by the natural divinity of which we are kin, nothing can stand in our way. We are Gaian. We are children of earth, of her. Feel what stirs in your deepest depths before her powerful mountains, her luminous plant life, her vast oceans, her majesty of animals, her ineffably diverse and magnificent landscapes, and fully embody symbiosis. with it all. For that is what we truly are. Let that be from where we now rise, with all of her with us. We are Gaia. Let that be spoken proudly, sung heroically by the portal of our lips, and lived, sweet and strongly lived, until we feel her living light in everything. She is awakening now in us all, and her wisdom once again will reign.